Hi everyone, it's Mel here, and I'm just considering today why we don't wear protective gear when we're learning something new, even though we we probably should, and we kind of know better. These are just my thoughts. I just want to add the disclaimer here that if you have an existing injury, then you really should consult a doctor if it's a serious injury about whether it's safe for you to roller skate or not. I see a lot at skate class over the hundreds, probably thousands of people that have come through skate class now. They fall into two camps. We have the group of people who go, oh my goodness, I'm so anxious about being here, but I'm also so proud of myself for showing up today, that actually give me all the padding. I am determined to do this. I absolutely know I'm going to fall. I'm really worried about it, so I know this is going to help me feel more confident. So bring it, bring it. And then we have the other group who they look at the box of pads, which I definitely think is a factor in people not wanting to put pads on. But they look at them and they'll go, oh, I'll be fine. I'll just see how I get on. And if I change my mind, then I'll come back and ask for help. Then I'll come back and put them on. Of course, when you are a less experienced roller skater, because remember at Roller Girl Gang, we talk about people on a continuum of experience rather than on a binary. There's no such thing as good and bad. We talk about people who have less experience and more experience in roller skating. If you have less experience in roller skating, you're actually more likely to have uncontrolled falls. So those uncontrolled falls cause more injury than a controlled fall, and that's not because you're expecting to fall. It's just because your body has an understanding that lowering your center of gravity or bending your knees will keep you safer. So your body just does that without thinking, but that takes a long time and quite a lot of training before you get to that point. So we end up seeing a lot of people who fall who are kind of like, I just wish I'd just put them on anyway. But why do they not? So I think people don't put their protective gear on because it adds time in getting ready to roller skate. And actually you just want to go and do the thing. Maybe the person actually doesn't know how to put protective gear on, because if you've ever seen wrist guards, they actually come in lots of different styles. And so even if you've seen some before, maybe you haven't seen the ones that are in our box of hire kit. Maybe you feel a little bit embarrassed or ashamed that you don't know, and you've not asked for help before as an adult, so it feels a bit uncomfortable. And I think that's quite a big thing to look at yourself, and you probably need to it's okay to ask for help. And that's a really big piece of unlearning that I needed to do. Maybe if it's not your own protective gear, so you're borrowing it from a space and it's in a box, it's a bit of a pile, actually that's a little bit overwhelming. There are so many different sizes, you've got to find the left and the right. Actually you just kind of don't even know where to start, and you're trying to do it tidily in the box, and it's really very challenging. Perhaps you don't like the feeling of the pads on your body and it feels like it's like constricting your movement. Or maybe you're not an inexperienced roller skater at all. You've got some experience or even a lot of experience, and you've just decided that actually you're kind of done with that and just get your skates on and go. This is the impact when you fall, so that the injury that may subsequently occur is a smaller injury. They do not prevent injury. just be very careful that you are not suddenly completely invincible, because if you were totally invincible, then any protective pads would potentially protect you from whatever you're doing, and that is obviously not the case. You know, you can choose some fairly slim and lightweight pads, and if you were to throw yourself down a 14-foot vert ramp for the very first time on those, it would still definitely hurt. And when should you wear protective gear? And also, what is it? Maybe I've not really defined that particularly well. So protective gear is the bits that you wear on your body that you want to like not get hurt. So the bit that's going to protect these small bones in your wrist, for example. There are some very complex workings in your wrist that make all your fingers move. If you wiggle your fingers like this and put your hand, your fingertips on your wrist, you'll probably feel them all wiggling around. It's a collection of tendons and tiny, tiny bones, and they are at quite significant risk of getting bashed and bruised, swelling up. It shouldn't stop us from having fun. It shouldn't stop us and limit our lives in fear of just in case. You can get elbow pads, you can get knee pads, you can get a helmet which will not fit over this hair. Helmets are different sizes, so you can get the right size for you. You can also get like butt savers, which are padded shorts, and you can even get like chest protection, or you might want to wear shin guards if you were playing roller derby or maybe roller hockey or something like that. You know, the time you are most at risk of injury is when you are learning something new. When you're learning something new and your body hasn't got used to the balance point you need to perform whatever it is you're doing. And that's not perform perfectly, because we know perfectionism isn't something we're striving towards. We're just on a path of personal growth. However, the learning something new can apply to lots and lots of different things. It might just mean that you are taking your skates to a new space for the first time. So if you're learning now and it's December 2023, if you're learning in the winter and then next year you go outside for the first time, you're not used to skating outside, but by 6 months time, okay, let's hope winter's not that long. In like 4 months time, when you're going outside and you've got a lot more experience skating indoors where it's flat and smooth, hills, you won't have a clue what to do on, and your body might not know how it feels. So wear pads just for the first few times while you get used to it. And actually, even if you're used to skating outside, you're only used to maybe skating in one space outside. If you go somewhere different outside, there are going to be more new obstacles in that space. So I think outside is always a new space. So street skating, for example, if you're going exploring or something like that, maybe you just want your pads with you. I think when you're learning a new skate discipline or like a specialism, so if you are a skater, even if you've got 5 years experience, but you go and do something different, you're going to need to relearn all of those balance points, and you'll learn them quite quickly, but it will still take time. So if you are used to ramp skating, but then you go and try artistic roller skating, it's going to be completely different. The way that you hold your body will be completely different. So you're going to expect to fall, but by that time you'll probably have completed the cycle a few times of kind of learning, watching, falling, learning, watching, falling, and adjusting, so that you will be able to land and perform and skate in the way that you want to. I think it also applies for folks who have other skate disciplines like inline skating, ice skating, and they come to quad skating and they go, oh yeah, I can do skating, I've done this before. You can see here that where the heel is, the wheels are kind of tucked under the heel. So actually easier to fall backwards and bang the back of your head. And it's really difficult to stop that. Once your feet go out from under you, it's really, really hard to stop. Where an ice skate blade or the bigger wheels on inline skates will usually come out behind the back of the heel, making this backwards fall much harder to do. I'm sure it's still possible, but it's harder. So you will notice that ice skaters will have like a very upright and almost slightly leaned back body position, whereas at first on a quad style boot, I would suggest you need to just keep your weight a little bit more forward until you figure out that balance point. Anything that's new to you, it's not that roller skating, if you've been skating for 10 years, but your 10 years experience is in roller derby and you try rhythm roller skating, you're probably going to fall because there's a very different set of skills that you need. Roller derby, you're going fast a lot of the time. You do need a lot of agility, but it's different compared to a very subtle transference of weight when you're doing a rhythm roller dance, because it's mostly based on the spot or it's slower moving. I would say it's maybe a good idea to own a set of your own protective pads as like a just in case, because then if you are ever somewhere, like you are outside or you go somewhere and you think, I'm just gonna keep them in my skate bag, then I've got them just in case I change my mind, or my confidence level drops and I just feel like I need them for whatever reason. So I think considerations, just like how much do you want to spend on them. If they are that just in case set, then you can spend like £30. The helmet is probably something that is worth spending money on because your brain is very important, even if you only wear it for a little bit at the beginning, you know, while you're finding your balance point, and then you wear it a few times when you go somewhere new. When we've gone to visit other spaces and skate in other spaces, that can feel really daunting because you don't know the other people in the room, whereas in your space you build up a knowledge about how people like to move, and you might not even be aware that you're building that knowledge, but you are. So when you go somewhere different and that skating is different to how you're used to it happening, or you've taken your toe stops out or something like that for the first time, you might be thinking, okay, there's a couple of factors here that is going to affect my confidence and I want to be able to fully relax. I therefore am going to choose to put on some pads. If you want to see a time when I fell over, I mean, I didn't film the fall because I was just filming it on my phone, but it was definitely a time when I was overconfident, I feel, or rushing, and I had odds stacked against me. The ground was a little bit damp, the skates were not my skates, so the balance point was a little bit different compared to what I'm used to. It was the end of a long day of activity, so my body was physically quite tired, even if my mind was saying, you're fine, just keep going, Mel, you're fine. And it was dark and I couldn't properly see the little obstacles that you trip over, even though I knew the terrain and the ground and the route, I knew it very, very well. I still couldn't see the tiny stone of doom. So I did end up falling. I hurt my hand, which is still healing. I mean, it's pretty much better now. And I also whacked my chin on the floor. It did take a few days for my face to heal, and I'd say it took a few weeks for my hand to heal and to regain like a grip with strength. Like I was struggling to close my hand for the first few days and it just felt like swollen and bruised, but it didn't actually change colour. I don't think that I will end up wearing pads outside regularly unless I actually have an injury. But having said that, there are still some things that I'm not confident to do outside. I don't like skating backwards outside. I feel there's too much risk in that of me going over and like ending up kind of bashing my back of my head on the floor. And I've never done that, but I just, for me, I feel like it's too risky. I'm going to stick with forwards, and I do feel confident skating backwards in lots of other spaces. So, you know, it is a confidence issue for me. Whether you decide protective pads are for you or not is up to you, but they will reduce the impact of an injury and allow you to skate another day. So just take everything into consideration, and if the Roller Girl Gang shop can help you at all, then we would be really delighted to fit you out. So just pop in or pop us a message online, and take care. See you soon. Bye.